Hi guys, my name is Ali. I'm a medical student here in Southern California. What I'd like to do today is talk to you a little bit about what I did 7 days leading up to the USMLE Step 1 exam day. Now it's definitely a stressful time. It's a time that you're going to start doubting yourselves over nothing. And hopefully I can give you some tips and advice here in this video that will be useful come the exam day. Now if you're looking for a video on how to study for the USMLE Step 1, go ahead and check out the link above over here. And with that in mind, I'd like to go ahead and start off with what I did 7 days before the exam. And so what did I do was I basically treated it as much as possible like it was the exam day itself. And so it was basically like a mock exam the week before. And so what does that mean? So I basically woke up exactly when I wanted to wake up. I strategized when I should leave my house, what breakfast I was going to have, exactly all the logistical things that were going to come the day of the exam. I wanted to know and kind of rehearse the week before the exam. So I slept exactly the time that I wanted to sleep. I woke up exactly when I wanted to wake up. I packed the snacks that I was going to pack. And basically the snacks consisted of Cliff Bars, things like this, things that were going to satiate me for a couple hours at a time, and also a 5-hour energy drink. The 5-hour energy drinks, I don't recommend taking an energy drink if you're not used to it. Now is not the time to experiment on anything. If you're used to it and you know how you react, that's perfectly fine. So I basically figured all that kind of stuff out and when I would leave and how the traffic would be, and I was off basically to the exam venue. So I woke up, did all that, everything how I would do it on the exam day, and then I took off for the venue to see how the traffic would be. And luckily I got to the venue exactly the time that I thought I was going to get there. And so if you have more traffic or less traffic, plan accordingly for the following week. And that's the point. You want to know all these logistical things or obstacles that you might encounter so that it's not stressful come the exam day. So next after that was basically figuring out for me where the restrooms were. I didn't want to play a guessing game. I wanted to know exactly where the restrooms were, before going there. So I checked out where the restrooms were, and that was that. Next was figuring out any potential distractions. And what I mean by that is I don't want to know of, some noise or like a playground that was nearby and hearing things on the exam day. I wanted to know it beforehand. It doesn't typically bother me to know that there's going to be a distraction if I knew it ahead of time. So I only say that because when I took the MCAT, I remember I took it at a Prometric Center in San Francisco, and above that Prometric Center, some of you know this Prometric Center, above this Prometric Center there was a gym. And that gym, what happened would be somebody would drop their weights and you would hear the weights drop, and it basically occurred every like 30 seconds. Somebody would drop their weights. And so luckily I knew that. I didn't go there ahead of time, but I knew that because I read a Yelp page. And why do I mention this? You want to know these distractions to see if it's going to, hinder you come the exam day. Knowing these ahead of time are going to mitigate all that stress come the exam day, and you could even change the venue in case that stress is going to be too much for you come the exam day. Now, so that was that. Figure out what potential stressors, what potential distractions there were come the exam day. Next up was taking the actual exam. So I wanted to mimic the exam day as much as possible. So I woke up exactly the same time, had the same breakfast, grabbed the same snacks, grabbed my 5-hour energy, left the same time, got to the venue, and I started my exam, my NBME, and my final NBME exam, exactly at the same time that I would start my actual USMLE Step 1 exam the week coming up. So instead of doing it at the Prometric Center that I was going to take my USMLE Step 1 exam, I took it at a library conveniently right next door. Some exam centers actually let you take a mock exam at their center for a small fee, but I decided not to do that. I took it at the library nearby, and I also, I try to mimic the conditions as much as possible. So I took it and I planned out my breaks exactly how I was going to plan them out, and check out my video that's going to be coming up on what I did on how to strategize for the actual exam. So I took it exactly how I thought I would take it, and that was it for that day. So that was 7 days before the actual exam. I mimicked the day exactly how I thought the day would be the week coming up. So then the following days, what did I do? The following days, instead of reading a bunch of notes and stuff like that, what I did was I watched videos. And what videos were those? It was videos for Pathoma. So Pathoma, you've heard me mention this before. And by the way, I don't get paid to mention any of these resources for either this video or the videos before this. I didn't get paid for any of this. And so Dr. Sitar has some great videos on the Pathoma site. And basically what I watched were the high yield ones, the ones that I hadn't seen in a while, or the things that I thought were really potentially going to be on the exam itself. So things like inflammation I hadn't seen in a while. Things like immunological diseases I hadn't seen in a while. So these are kind of the videos that I watched, and other high yield videos that I would watch the days leading up to the exam as well. Now, 3 days before the exam, not including the day, so the day before the exam I didn't do anything, and I'll more on that in a second. But the 3 days before the exam, I basically read the rapid review section of the first aid for the USMLE Step 1 exam book. So basically the rapid review page, if you look at it, this is how it looks. And basically what it is word associations. So it kind of gives you clinical presentations, and it asks for you to associate it with a disease, a treatment, or other key associations. So to give you an example, I'll go ahead and read one. Hyperphagia, hypersexuality, hyperorality, and hyperdocility. That's going to be Kluver-Bucy syndrome, which is a bilateral amygdala lesion. And another example could be large rash with bullseye appearance. What is that? That's going to be Lyme disease, Borrelia. So things like this. These were really nice, and it actually really calmed me down reading the rapid review section the 3 days before the exam, because it was key facts, small facts that were high yield and really important for you to know. Whether it benefited you or not, I don't know. It just really mitigated the stress for me, and that was the most important thing. The last week before the exam for me was mitigating as much stress as possible. I wanted to do away with all the stress, because then I could focus when it came the exam time. And that was the most important thing for me. Now, the next thing that I say is that I did was the day before the exam, I did nothing. Exactly nothing. And it's really hard for me to do nothing, and it's hard for a lot of you probably to do nothing. And luckily for me, my mother was traveling from the Middle East, and so I had to pick her up at the airport, and so it kind of forced me to do nothing. And so what I did was I went to the airport, picked her up, but I really recommend for you to do nothing. Do something sereneful, do something peaceful, and something kind of close to your house or close to the venue, wherever you're staying at, so that you don't have any stress getting back to your apartment or house or whatever. And the last and final thing I want to say is get enough sleep as possible. Okay? I can't stress that enough. It's important for you to get at least, for me, 8 hours of sleep before an exam. I know it's hard, you're going to be stressed out, but that's the point of doing this week of de-stressing. You're going to be doing all the things that you're potentially going to be doing, and try to de-stress yourself as much as possible. So come the night before and the actual day of the exam, you know how everything's going to play out, and you're going to be that much better for it. So these are basically the things. To sum up, basically figure out all the logistics on how to get to the exam and what the exam day is 7 days before. The days leading up to the exam, watching all the Pathoma videos that you think are going to be high yield. Next thing is the first aid for the USMLE Step 1 rapid review sections, and then relaxing the night before and the day before, and getting enough sleep. These are really the most important things, and I hope you find this video useful. I hope you take something from this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave the comments down below, and I hope you found this video useful. If you did and you'd like to see some more, please hit subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care.